Michael Jordan just called out LeBron James. And this isn't about rings. This is about LeBron putting Martin Luther King's face on a sneaker and the most powerful man in basketball history calling it a disgrace. And here's the thing, this hasn't fully hit mainstream media yet. What's being said behind closed doors right now could be the most damaging moment LeBron's brand has ever faced. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you're going to see LeBron James and his entire legacy from a completely different angle. To commemorate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King by having a colorway that is taken from the Lorraine Motel, the place where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, and slapping it on a Nike shoe and selling it for $210. Also on the shoe is a commemoration of LeBron James scoring 51 points in Memphis, because that moment in American history deserves to be on the same space as the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay, first thing first, let's go back to early 2025. LeBron James is at the height of his brand power. We're talking about one of the most marketable athletes on the planet. A man who has turned basketball into a business empire, a media company, a cultural movement. His influence stretches far beyond the court, and everyone knows it. So when his team announces a brand new sneaker collection, a tribute line honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the internet loses its mind, in a good way. At first, the shoes drop with this whole curated rollout, clean design, powerful imagery, MLK quote stitched into the tongue of the shoe, his silhouette on the heel, limited edition, the kind of release that feels like more than just a sneaker. It feels like a statement. And the statement works. The collection sells out in under 3 hours. Social media is flooded with unboxings, tributes, and fans calling it one of the most culturally significant sneaker releases in years. Media outlets run glowing pieces about LeBron honoring a civil rights icon. People are emotional. People are proud. On the surface, it looks like a win, a big one. But behind the scenes, in rooms that cameras don't get access to, in conversations that don't make it to press releases, something very different is happening. Because not everyone is impressed, and one person in particular is reportedly furious. Few years, though, I've noticed that you've spoken out on unarmed black people being shot. You've talked about the causes and effects of poverty. You've talked about healthcare disparities. Sure, what changed? Why are you more outspoken now than you used to be? You know, when I was playing, my vision and my tunnel vision was my craft. I was a professional basketball player, and I tried to do that the best I could. Now I have more time to understand things around me, understand causes. Here's where it gets real, and we want to be clear, this is not on the major media platforms yet. This is coming from inside basketball circles, trusted sources, people who are close to the situation. Word starts spreading, quietly at first, that Michael Jordan saw the MLK sneaker collection and his reaction was not what anyone expected. According to people familiar with the conversation, Jordan reportedly looked at the shoes and said something along the lines of, "That's a disgrace. You don't put Dr. King on a shoe to sell product. That's not a tribute, that's a transaction." Now let that sit for a second. Michael Jordan, the man who literally built the sneaker industry as we know it, the man whose shoe line generates over $1 billion a year, that man is calling LeBron's MLK tribute shoes a disgrace. And the reason this hits so Jordan believed that mixing commerce with social causes diluted both. LeBron took the exact opposite path. LeBron made activism part of his brand DNA. He speaks on social justice, he funds schools, he campaigns, he wears messages on his jersey. He uses his platform loudly and consistently, and in many ways, people love him for it. It's part of what makes LeBron more than just a basketball player in the public eye. He's a symbol. So when LeBron's team designed the MLK collection, in his world, in his philosophy, that's a natural extension of who he is. It's using the brand to amplify a message. It's commerce and culture working together. But here's where Jordan's reported reaction becomes more than just an old man's opinion. Is there a point where cultural tribute becomes cultural commodity? Is there a line between honoring someone's legacy and packaging it for profit? And if that line exists, did this shoe cross it?
These are uncomfortable questions, and the fact that it's Michael Jordan, a man who understands the sneaker business better than literally anyone alive, raising them, that's not something you can just brush off. This is a clash of two giants, not just in basketball, but in ideology, in philosophy, in how they believe power should be used. And the basketball world in 2025 is watching very closely. Still watching? Good, because what happens next is where things really start to unravel. Keep going. You know how the internet works. Nothing stays quiet for long. By mid-2025, whispers of Jordan's reactions start leaking into the corners of social media. A post here, a comment from someone claiming insider knowledge there. A podcast drops an episode hinting at tension between Jordan's camp and LeBron's brand team. And just like that, the conversation explodes, and it splits hard. On one side, you've got the people who defend LeBron completely. Their argument is straightforward. LeBron has been consistent in his advocacy for Black culture and Black history. The MLK shoes weren't some random cash grab. They were designed with intention. They carried a message. And if a portion of that revenue goes toward community upliftment, which sources close to LeBron's team would later suggest it did, then what exactly is the problem? These fans are vocal. They flood comment sections. They post threads breaking down LeBron's history of activism. They point out that MLK himself used every tool available to spread his message, and that visibility on a globally sold product is just a modern version of that. Then on the other side, and this side is louder than most people expected, you've got people who start asking harder questions. People who say, wait, there's something uncomfortable about seeing a civil rights icon turned into a limited edition retail event. Something that feels off about the hype cycle around a shoe drop being attached to the memory of a man who was assassinated fighting for basic human rights. Comments like, MLK didn't march so his face could be on a $250 sneaker, or LeBron's heart might be right, but the execution feels like it went too far. And some people just kept asking, what did MLK's family say? Were they involved? Did they give real input, or was it a courtesy consultation? These aren't fringe opinions. These are showing up in mainstream comment sections, on sports talk shows, in barbershop conversations. And the fact that Jordan's name is now attached to the criticism, that amplifies everything by about 10 times. Because whether you love Jordan or not, you listen when he speaks, especially at the intersection of Black legacy and the sneaker business. That's his entire life's work. So how does LeBron's team respond? They don't come out swinging. There's no press conference, no direct statement addressing Jordan by name. What happens instead is quieter and in some ways more telling. Sources close to LeBron's brand operation begin letting information out through trusted channels. The message they want out there is simple. This wasn't done carelessly. MLK's family was...
This was a considered, community-centered tribute, and we stand by it. And honestly, if that's all true, and there's no reason to believe it isn't, that changes the conversation a little. But here's what's fascinating. Here's what makes this story so much bigger than a typical sneaker beef. Jordan's camp says nothing. No denial, no clarification, no those quotes were taken out of context, no response at all. And in 2025, in a media environment where every celebrity has a PR team ready to put out fires within hours, silence is a choice. Silence means something. Is Jordan standing by what he allegedly said? Is he watching to see how the public reacts before deciding whether to speak? Or is he making a calculated decision that the best thing he can do, the most powerful thing, is just let the question hang in the air? Because here's the reality. If Jordan had denied saying it, the story dies. If Jordan comes out and confirms it, now it's a full war. But if Jordan says nothing, now LeBron has to carry the weight of the question forever. Every time those shoes are brought up, every time MLK's name comes up in the context of LeBron's brand, and that might be the most Jordan move of all time. The man spent his entire career making opponents feel the pressure without ever letting them see him sweat. Why would 2025 be any different? Don't go anywhere, because the final chapter is the one that's going to make you think differently about both of these men. Here's the bigger picture, and this is what nobody's really talking about yet.
This moment, Jordan versus LeBron over a sneaker, over MLK's legacy, over the right way to honor history, this is actually a window into a much larger debate that black athletes, black entrepreneurs, and black cultural figures are wrestling with right now in 2025. What do you do with power? What do you do with a platform? And more importantly, when you build that platform on top of black culture, black struggle, black history, what are your responsibilities? LeBron's answer has always been, use it loudly, visibly. Don't be quiet. Don't separate commerce from community. Make them the same thing. Jordan's answer, at least historically, has been more careful, more guarded, more private. In his reported reaction to the MLK shoes, feels like a direct expression of that worldview. Some legacies, maybe, are too sacred to be packaged. Some names shouldn't be turned into brand moments, even when the intentions are good. And here's the thing. There's no clean answer here. Both men have done extraordinary things for their communities. Both men have used their success to create generational wealth, fund institutions, and open doors. They just disagree fundamentally about where the line is. And the reason this conversation matters beyond just basketball, because it's not really about LeBron and Jordan, it's about all of us. Every time we buy something that carries someone's image or message, we're participating in this question. Are we honoring them or are we consuming them? The MLK shoes sold out in 3 hours. 3 hours! Was that a tribute or was that a transaction? In 2025, that question doesn't have an easy answer, and maybe that's exactly the point. Look, at the end of the day, this is bigger than beef. This is bigger than sneakers. This is two of the greatest to ever do it, operating from completely different playbooks, colliding over something that actually matters. LeBron built his brand on visibility and activism. Jordan built his on excellence and restraint. Neither approach is wrong, but when they crash into each other over the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., that's when the whole world stops and pays attention. What we know for sure is this. The MLK shoes exist. Jordan's reported reaction exists. The debate is very real, and neither man is done writing their legacy yet. The basketball court couldn't decide who the GOAT is. Maybe history will. But before you go, we want to ask you something. Do you think LeBron crossed a line with the MLK sneaker collection, or do you think Jordan's reaction says more about him than it does about LeBron? Drop your answer in the comments right now. We read every single one. And if this video made you think even for a second, hit that subscribe button, because this is the kind of conversation we have every single week. Real stories, real stakes, no fluff. We'll see you in the next show.